Hey, my friend, welcome back to the Mindshift podcast. I'm super excited to have you here for an exciting conversation. I want to, first of all, thank you for taking time out of your day to be here and spending it with us. Today, I have Christine McDaniel with us, who is the principal and lead business intermediary of the Magnolia Firm. It's a boutique M&A brokerage that works specifically, which is intriguing for me, with digital online businesses. They help business owners achieve the perfect exit in record time by using technology, AI, and automations to get the job done. Her firm is a new age digital brokerage that is on a mission to revolutionize a very dated industry. Now, after founding, growing, acquiring, and selling, get this, 20 plus of her own businesses across several verticals, including a successful exit from a tech company in 2021, Christine has realized that there is a formula for the perfect business exit. We're going to talk about that formula today, among other things. Christine, welcome to Mindshift.
Thank you, Darrell. Excited to be on today.
Where are you coming to us from today?
Sunny San Diego.
Okay, good. I'm in sunny Vegas. I'm sorry for those listening who are not experiencing the joy of the weathers of our two cities.
Yes.
I often say that if I wasn't in Vegas, I'd be in San Diego. My daughter's going to school there, so I'm super excited to have you here, Christine. I just have to jump right in with a very interesting question for me. 20 plus businesses, and what is wrong with you?
I'm so crazy. It's so funny. My 20-year anniversary is tomorrow. Just like, I'm so excited. Thank you. Time flew. You have no idea. Ups, downs, all arounds, but it's been a fun ride. I love it. I wouldn't change it for anything. Yeah. And a lot of them were overlapping, obviously, my companies. But yeah, and somebody said, oh, you're not a serial entrepreneur, you're a parallel entrepreneur, meaning you'll run them at the same time, kind of dovetail into the next venture. So yeah, I love it. It's fun.
What's your superpower in business?
Innovation for sure. Number two, hustle. Number two, three is building amazing teams. And everybody else has told me that. Like a culture in hiring and building a team, it's really easy for me.
If you had to boil it down to one signature idea that positions a business for an exit, just one. I know there's a lot of them, but if you had to single it out, what's the key to building a business that can be sold?
When it doesn't need you there, when you can take a month off and nothing, the business keeps running like a well-oiled machine. I'd say that's number one. And that's how I knew one of mine. I left for Europe for an entire month. I had not taken a vacation in 3 years. And not only did it run better it ran better than with me. It was the biggest sales month on record. It's when we broke 100K in 1 month. And I was actually sad. I was upset because I was always the driver of the sales, push, push, push. And they did it without me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they don't need me anymore. So that's the biggest one.
I love it. What first got you into business in the first place?
I mean, I was a little kid, like selling candy bars out of my backpack. And I had a little snow cone stand because I wanted to innovate and everybody else was doing a lemonade stand. And my dad was a business owner, but he was more, self-employed. So like the E-Myth says, that's the technician. He never, down the road, he got a couple employees, but yeah, he was the guy, it was HVAC. He was the one climbing on roofs, every day. And so I wouldn't say and he never sat down and taught me business necessarily either. But I would just I told him we are at Costco. I'm like, you got to buy this pack of bubble gum so I could sell it at school. And I took, he's like, well, you need to give me the $12. I gave him the $12. I took it home. I took each pack and I used a calculator. And I'm like, how much do I need to sell each pack? And I subtract what I gave my dad. And then how much am I going to have over? So it was like literally, age 11, calculating profit without realizing it.
It was in your blood. It was in your blood.
No doubt.
What's interesting to me, if I can back up to your dad's story, your dad, as you kind of indicated, was in the business, on the roofs, doing the work, and you took a different path. What enlightenment crossed your path that gave you the understanding or the desire, the need to build a business that ran without you?
Yeah, great question. I mean, and the enlightenment happened, still as a kid or a teenager. It's like I'm a sales and marketing. I love marketing, right? Person. That's my favorite hat to wear. It's like, Dad, get a full page, in the yellow pages, advertisement. He had just his little name and phone number. Yeah, I know it's dating myself, but Dad, get a big billboard here in the city. Dad, put magnets on your truck that say your business. So like as a kid, I was a marketer. I'm just like, Dad, hire employees. So I don't know where this stuff came from because it was me telling him, grow it, don't climb on the roofs. Like you can't do that forever. I mean, he ended up doing it till the day he passed at age 57. He was still climbing roofs in Lancaster, which is weather just like Vegas, right? Desert,
Yep.
very hot, but he loved it. So yeah, my enlightenment was like, I never want to be that person. My first company was a cleaning company. I was young, 23. I had to go scrub, I was just a straight hustler. But in my head, every toilet I scrubbed, I remembered it never was like, this sucks scrubbing a toilet. This is horrible. In my head was like, I'm doing this so that I'm going to hire a bunch of employees and not have to work at all. And that all these people are going to be working for me. And at the end, yeah, I had a manager, 37 employees, obviously wasn't cleaning. That took a year and a half for me to stop cleaning. but yeah, that's how I've thought of since day one.
Wow. Today, where you're at now with all the experience successes, and we're going to go dig into a couple of those and certainly want to unpack the formula. Um, Today, buy or build?
Okay. Not until recently, a few years ago. And again, I had my cleaning company. I acquired, a few small ones, rolled them in. My spa did the same thing. I bought two spas that were profitable during COVID, grabbed them because everybody's freaking out, flipped them, resold them 15 months later. And I was like, oh, this is so easy. Again, it's easy. So to answer your question, I say buy because you can buy cash flow. You can use OPM, other people's money. So buying profitable businesses. Profitable is a keyword. Okay, please don't try to fix a company. That's probably harder than a startup. So yeah, buy a profitable business, OPM, by getting an SBA loan, borrowing money, etc. You already have cash flow. That cash flow is servicing the loan. So you can, $1 million company you could purchase, put 10% down, 100K. That $1 million company could be netting out 250,000, right? You're servicing that loan and you're already like replacing your salary of the year. And that's what people are doing right now. There's a lot of first-time business buyers we're working with. The majority are, and they'll go get an SBA loan. They don't want to work corporate anymore. They're like, after COVID, they got freedom. Now they're back to corporate hell. So they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. On the flip, there is something to be said, and this is myself, again, innovation. So I'm like, oh, why isn't there a company that does it this way? And it frustrates me to the point where I'm like, well, I'm going to start that company. And you start it from, there's so much more fulfillment, right? It's harder, don't get me wrong. But there's so much fulfillment when I overhear somebody talking about cleanology here in San Diego. I'm like, oh my God, I started that company 20 years ago. They're like, you did? Or talk about, Eco Chateau. So it's really cool. And all the 8 out of the 10 and 20 years of my startups are still in business, which is pretty cool.
That is amazing. Congratulations on that. Congratulations on 20 years doing. I mean, it sounds easy when you say it, but being an entrepreneur, I've only started 6, and of course now I've helped hundreds through my agency. I know what it takes, and I know the ups and downs, and I want to get into that a little bit as we think about starting from your firm's goal, which is to disrupt an old, dated industry. What's wrong with the M&A industry right now as you see it?
Where do I start? Well, I did create a character. His name is Broker Bob. He's on all our social media channels. You guys are welcome to check him out. It's literally, it's improv, obviously. I dress up as an old man. I make fun of brokers. I literally repeat exactly stories, things they say, like word for word. And that's why there's no cuts. I could just do it in one take because it's literally like channeling them. It's a lot of older men, you got guys still doing this in their 70s. They're still having you fax an NDA. Can you believe that? They're still using fax machines. And they're it's like equivalent to used car salesmen. The stuff I find out, the stuff I overhear, they come in, they say, oh, yeah, I can get you 200K really easily. A week later, oh, we just tested the market. It looks like 160. Oh, another week later. Oh, and this is a true story locally. So then I came in, I'm like, hey, like it keeps lowering, and I had a friend interested in the business. I was helping him. And then I'm like, yeah, I keep seeing it getting lower. I'm like, yeah, I see it, for 120. And they were like, what? They were like, the last time we talked, it was 140. And so he's literally just dropping, because he wants his commission and he wanted to sell them. I could get you this much. So there's a lot of shadiness that's going on. It's all the websites look the same. Their follow-up's not very aggressive. Ours is extremely aggressive. If somebody calls to inquire about one of our listings for sale, we're going to call, email, text every other day. Call, email, text, calling. We've got automations and an incredible CRM that helps, right? That's why we can do that. Until that buyer says, no, I pass on the business or get me more information. We're going to follow up like 5 times doing all that at least. So those are just some of the things off the top of my head.
Gotcha. You specialize in digital businesses, digital online businesses, to be more specific. Tell our audience what that means. I work in the industry, so I think I've got a clue, but tell our audience what that means. What types of businesses?
Yeah, and imagine people with fax machines and not using computers yet. I don't think they can sell digital-based businesses. I think it'd be tough if you're in your 70s. But anyways, what we do is anything digital remote-based businesses. And so that would be like a digital marketing agency, a digital graphic design firm. CRM integration agencies are super hot right now. We've sold like 3 or 4 of them back to back to back. We're trying to go find more because we've gotten multiple LOIs where they're like, we missed out, find another one. So we have campaigns running just to find these. And what those are the agencies. If a big corporation is implementing Salesforce or HubSpot or any other CRM system, they've got to bring in an agency to integrate because it's extremely difficult. You got to customize, etc. Now, Salesforce, the last business I just sold, he's 27 years old. He had it for 3 years. I'm so excited for him. 4 million, closes in a week. But he specializes in the AI part called Einstein of Salesforce that was recently launched. So now he's coming in and he's implementing AI into the CRMs of massive companies, Pepsi, Experian, etc. So that was an acquisition of a larger firm. But yeah, so those are our hot ones. Yeah.
Those are very nice. So it sound like all mostly agency or service-based online businesses, right?
Yeah.
Is there something you don't like about e-commerce businesses or SaaS businesses? Tell me more.
So yeah, e-com. We did a couple. That iOS update back in April 2021, I know it's been a while now, but it really hurt e-com because e-com put all their eggs in that basket of retargeting ads. Okay. And then the privacy rules on like iOS changed.
Apple iOS.
So then they got like 60% of like leads decrease. That's a lot. There's a lot of moving parts. And again, I've done a couple, so I can, and I have not owned one. So again, I'm like, okay, well, I understand them. I could sell them. But again, I think the moving parts, the inventory on hand, all of that stuff, shipping delays. But yeah, there's way more moving parts, prepaids on an e-com situation. As far as I do love SaaS is great because it's recurring revenue. The multiples are high. However, everybody, any M&A firm is like saturating them with messaging. Let's sell. So I'm like, hey, let all those guys be out there. I'll be in my little sandbox over here because we're boutique. We do really well. We're definitely not cheap. I'm like, let them go after SaaS. Like nobody's going after CRM integration. And last point with these agencies is a lot of them have a foundation of recurring revenue, right?
Yeah.
So, they have managed services. So this one, the 4 million one, he had about 62% of recurring revenue on managed services. So that's like a magical R word, remote, recurring revenue. Those are some good words.
I like it. I like it. I like the way you broke down the, the thing with ecom. It's super exciting, and I'm a big fan of ecom. Our agency doesn't actually do much ecom. We've done a little bit over 13 years, nowhere near, but there's so much volatility. It's like running a restaurant, in my opinion. And as a kid, I was in my teens. I worked for Taco Bell, and there's a lot of moving. First of all, there's a lot of moving parts in every business. Let me be clear about that. Agency is no different, but largely the moving parts are human capital and the platforms that we have to do the work on, the HubSpots, the Salesforces, the Facebooks, the Googles, the et ceteras. But the models actually can be repeated and systematized pretty well. And there's so many variables to what you said about ecom, for example. I was thinking back to a company that we were working with, and to your point of shipping issues and delays, and they had some challenges, and the challenges weren't their fault, but they didn't know how to communicate. And it was like, it's simple. Tell them the truth. Well, I'm going to have to give all these refunds back. Yeah, you're probably going to give about 10 or 15% of them because some people won't be able to wait, but you got to do it. So it's just very interesting, some of the hurdles. We had another one that was on Amazon, and their pay gate got shut down. It was a nutritional supplement company that it's just unbelievable. Some of those things that just, for some reason, lawyers don't go out of business. HVAC companies don't. They don't go out of business until they retire, But anyway, so I want to talk about this. This show is always looking at what we call the journey from inspiration to realization. But when life knocks us down, what do we do to go from breakdown to breakthrough? In your journey, what has been one of the biggest setbacks, failures, or knockdown moments when you were thinking, "Ooh, I don't know if I can recover from this one"?
Too many to count, but I'll tell two quick ones. So with the cleaning company, at that point, we had 12, and I wasn't cleaning it. I had graduated to being the secretary booking stuff. So I wasn't cleaning, a year and a half of the cleaning. Now I move up. Now I've got 12 employees. And one of them I just had to fire. And again, to this day, 20 years later, it's so hard for me to fire. And every business owner says that. Nobody likes firing. So I put it off for a couple months. It's so tough, like it. So I put it off for a couple months. And this is where I learned my lesson, but unfortunately still it's hard to fire. So one of the person that I meant to fire and put it off, she got the entire team riled up. She got 12 people to approach me, stand in front of me. I'll never forget this. On a Friday, they're all standing in front of me in a line. And she's like, we want to raise today or we are all quitting. You got 12 people in front on a Friday, our busiest day of the week. So that was planned.
They formed their own union.
They did.
They formed their own union.
I could still it's so long ago and I could still visualize it. And so and I'm like, and thank God, off the cuff, I'm not going to be bullied around. And the second you give in, they're just going to be walking all over you. But I'm glad I thought to separate them quick enough. Because, with and some of them, we're just kind of following along the herd, right?
Herd mentality, yeah.
Yeah, the herd mentality. And then, so I'm like, okay, nope, not going to happen. I need each of you to come into my office individually. You're going to sign a piece of paper that says you'll never work here again. And I knew if I could separate each of them, some of them have been there for years. So they come in one at a time. So first one, she's like, okay, I don't want to leave. So she stays, okay. The next one comes in. Oh, well, what did Maria do? It doesn't matter what Maria did. What
do you want to do?
Exactly. So right. I think the second one stayed. I can't remember all of them. Long story short, out of 12, 7 left. So you're left with less than half. And you're looking at Christine that I go, well, so I have to start moving clients real quick. And then I go out and help clean because I was just like, well, I'm cleaning. I even called my friend Hillary that was young like I was at the time, early 20s. And she's in Chicago. I'm like, Hillary, you're never going to be in the believe this story. Shut her cleaning company over there. I was like, I'm cleaning today. This is what went down. So, that's getting kicked down, but right back up. Like, it's like, we're going to figure it out, right? We're going to figure it
Yeah.
out. So we, and this, the other little mention I'll make, I had a $1.2 million lawsuit at the spa. It went on for a year. And again, you could be, everybody listening, if you're kicked down on the ground, like, you cannot let your staff know. I don't know. You got to like cover up the bruises, put some makeup on, cover up the bruises, because we kept growing. If I would have stayed, if I would have told my 30 plus employees we had a lawsuit, they would have been scared. They would have quit. It just, the energy would have shifted, and we were growing so quickly, and everybody was excited, and we had a great culture. But then I'm like, putting a smile on my face and being excited, and just, I was able to set it to the point where I'm like, well, what's going to happen happens with the lawsuit. Nothing I'm going to do, no amount of worry is going to change that outcome. I got to just keep on moving. So
Yeah.
yeah, everybody listening.
It's true. It's true. I don't know. I think my career 2 or 3 times been sued, but a company been sued. And the reality is you just have to handle it and deal with it. It turned out two, I think it was three, all three of them were frivolous, but you got to go through the process, and it's drama and it's whatever. Um, so yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah,
I
have good
have
insurance. That's my tip. Have good insurance. And we did. So we didn't pay any. And I've had 3 lawsuits total. Thank you,
yeah,
Farmers Insurance.
right. There you go. There you go. So let's talk to the listener, the entrepreneur who's listening today, who might be thinking about an exit. Maybe they are 10, 15, 20 years in the business and they want to get positioned, and as well as the earlier stage company. And more so, I want to dig into your formula. Let me ask this question first. Does the formula differ for a company that's, say, 15 or 20 years old than it is if someone's just in their early first 3 to 5 years?
No, it doesn't. It's going to be the same key things for sure. Isn't that funny with both sets?
Yeah. Yeah. I think football is played the same, whether you've been in the league for 20 years or if you're a rookie. So I agree with you on that. Can we get into the formula as you see it, high level?
Yeah, for sure. So the first one, we talked about is removing the owner out of the business as much as possible. Obviously, a business owner can never say, I work 0 hours. Like, that's impossible. I think the sweet spot for everybody listening is about 10 to 15 hours a week. If you're in your biz dev, the sales hat is always the one the owner's going to leave on until the very end, because we're going to sell better than anybody in our company, and that's proven. So the biz dev and sales is probably going to be the last to go. And you probably want to hire that biz dev person because everybody's going to be like, when they buy your company, hey, but you're doing all the sales, you have all the client relationships. So trying to pull that off yourself. Reputation is huge, right? Having a sparkling reputation, refund it. Like you talked about the e-com, just refund the people. It's not worth upsetting and getting a bad review.
100%.
You've got a loyal team, you've got profit. Profit is really important. And for that, this differs, for your little startup people, they're pumping all that profit back in to grow. We get it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But then at some point you need to start pulling back on all the expenses and letting that profit grow. That would be another. And yeah, so those are typically the main. It's funny when you were saying, those long, older companies with older, owners, maybe they didn't invest maybe they don't have a lot of software in place, right? Because they didn't want change. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but a buyer will actually so I wouldn't say go do that. And it's going to be expensive, so it's going to eat your profit. I would say don't do that. And that's the selling benefit. Because then somebody younger is going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to put in all the software, efficiencies,
Mm-hmm.
automations, and just take it to the moon. So
Yep.
yeah.
Increase margins. Yeah. Yeah. It's always interesting. So I actually, this question comes up, and I think it's a good question for those listening. I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but at a general level, what do buyers look for in businesses? You just kind of touched on one of them, but can you categorize what buyers are typically looking for when they're buying a company, categorically speaking?
For sure. Why are you number one question? And again, our team does it now, but I used to do all the, people inquire about a listing, and I talk to all of them. Number one question out the gate. Well, if this business is so great, why are they selling? So I heard recently, I'm burned out. I don't like my business. My employees are a pain in the ass. Okay, you cannot say that. I'm like, let's rephrase this, okay? I'm like, and a lot of our clients are in their 30s, they're young and their first exit, and they're starting their family. So they're having their first kid, their second kid. They have little kids and they want to be, home with them more. And they want to cash out now and they'll go start another venture, right? These are serial entrepreneurs. So number one, the buyers are looking for a reason. Okay, again, having a child, that's understandable. Starting my new venture and it's taking off and I'm neglecting this one. That's a great answer. So I'd say those are the main answers. Okay. Don't say your company, you're burned out. Do not say you're burned out. The other thing they're looking for is profit, obviously, which we touched on. They're looking for a team that that you don't have a ton of team, that you don't have a ton of churn with your clients. You don't have high customer concentration. Like one client is like 80% of your revenue, right? And you lose them and you're screwed. Those are some really big ones that, get asked a lot. I think those are the main ones. And how many hours is the owner working? They always ask. And then years of business. That's the last one I'll mention. Anything under 2 years, you got to wait. Like I can't, it's too hard. It's going to be hard to exit that if you're such a young company.
Gotcha. Makes sense. So there's something that crossed my mind and I'm going to go back to it in my thought process. And I don't know why it slipped my mind, but it was early when you were talking about, multiples. I want to talk about multiples for just a moment. And I know this is a general statement, but in the types of businesses you're working with as it relates to the selling multiple, is it a multiple of revenue or a multiple of EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and
amortization?
I forget what is it?
Amortization.
Amortization. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
I didn't do good in accounting, but talk a little bit about that, and then what do you see in the types of businesses that you're focused on in terms of multiple? And I ask this question because you look around the internet, social media, and all we hear about are those big unicorn stories, the SaaS company stories. Talk to us about us ordinary business folks. What should we be thinking about?
Yeah, there's not like the SaaS. Well, those were the good old days when they were getting 10x top line, just
top
amazing.
line, right?
Yep. And that's those days are gone right now. But so for everybody else, even my spa was service-based brick and mortar. So every single broker, and again, I've done all my own deals, and especially that one after, Christine, you're only going to get 2 to 3x EBITDA at the most if you're lucky. I was like, I'm going to do this on my own. I got 4.5x on a service business because we had an amazing team, amazing reputation, and recurring revenue. We had about like 35%, which is rare on a spa. There was not memberships back in 2012. We were one of the first spas to do memberships. So for everybody else listening, let me build upon, and please, even if you don't go through me or whoever you're going to go to list your business, make this very clear to them, because it's you cannot. And it's laziness on their part, in my opinion. And I don't want to keep knocking other advisors, but it's like, your business is worth a 2 or 3x and that's it, or this number. But it's like, wait a minute, how is it a 3x EBITDA? I've got 10 years, amazing team, low customer concentration, low churn. But you got business B that's like horrific. Why would the multiple be the same? So I always take that as like a baseline, and then I'm just building upon it, right? Based on all the things I could dig out of a company, all the gems, all the things, the owner's in the weeds. And at the end of the day, they kind of even get excited. They're like, wow, I did a lot. Like, this is really cool. So,
it reminds me of when I spent 17 years combined between the real estate and lending industries. It's an appraisal, right? 2 houses on the same street. Just because they're both 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage, 2-story, made by the same builder and the same floor plan doesn't mean they're worth the same. They start with a similar comparable, and then there's upgrades and downgrades, to your point. Is that how you were just describing business?
Definitely. That was a perfect example. Yeah. The house with the beautiful pool and remodeled kitchen, bathroom, top to bottom, versus that house that's like falling apart with no pool.
Right. Sounds good. Makes sense. So I want to wrap up by, first of all, how can people find you? And more importantly, at this stage, why should they reach out to you and connect with you? I want to connect the work that you do and whoever's listening to determine if their why makes sense for them to reach out to you. Can you spend a minute on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm easy to find on LinkedIn, and that's the best platform I'm on. So you can shoot me a message on LinkedIn. Happy to help. If you've got questions about your own business, our team can always do like this high level range of where you're currently sitting. So myself, I just exit when I feel like, I'm bored. The chaos is done in the startup. Let me start another startup. They don't need me anymore. And so that's when I jump. It's never a date and it's never a dollar amount. But for some people, they've got this dollar amount. Well, I want to exit for $1 million. And so I can work backwards from that, right? Or a date. And then we can work backwards. Like, how do you need to grow to get there? So yeah, just reach out. We could give you high level help. And I do consulting also to help people get there. If somebody's looking to acquire a business, we're starting to help on the buy side, which is exciting. 2 years in, we had to get the sell side dialed because I'm in a startup again. That's what's funny. I was like, yay, now I'm helping other people sell. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I'm starting another startup to do that. So but we're on all the socials also. So they could go to our website. They can go to, Instagram or Facebook. We're on those too.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Christine, I first of all want to congratulate you again. The business journey, not just the business journey, but the fact that you've pretty much made building, buying, selling businesses like making chocolate cake in the kitchen. I'm a cook in my part-time hours, and I think it's incredible. And I thought I had a pretty good handle on it, but you're certainly several levels above. And it's just like talking to you about buying and selling, building and exiting businesses is almost like going to get gas in the car or something. Like you've got a knack for this stuff, and that's a super incredible gift. So all the best to you and the Magnolia firm. If you're listening right now and you're not following Christine on social, be sure to check the show notes or the description beneath the podcast where you're listening right now. And if you're not following the show yet, hit the follow button wherever it is. This could be on YouTube, could be on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, who knows. Hit the follow button so you never miss another exciting interview with a fantastic entrepreneur like Christine. And for those of you who didn't know, I'm writing a book, and I'd love to keep you posted on the progress of that book. Some of you have heard it in a previous episode, but be sure you're inside the Mindshift community at mindshiftcommunity.com. It's free to join. And I just want to make sure you're in the know of everything that's coming up for us in the coming year inside the community. So, Christine, once again, thank you for being on the Mindshift podcast.
Thank you so much for having, and congrats on writing a book. So ours publishes this, and I know how much work they are. Get Acquired, we're publishing this month. Almost done. Oof, it's like the 90% of the work is in the last 10%, right?
I love it. Great. Congratulations on that. I didn't know about that or else I would have asked, but congratulations on that. The book is called Get Acquired.
Yes.
I love it. Great title for what you do. And once you get it published, please link up with us and we'll link it up in the show notes so people can know how to find it as well.
Perfect. Thanks.
My friend, thank you for hanging out with us on the Mindshift podcast, and I will see you on another episode or somewhere on the internet. Take care. Hit the subscribe button so you can become a part of the Mindshift community. We'll help you shift your mind so you can shift your results.